Hey guys, welcome back to Jake's Garage, and today we're going to be servicing the BMW F20. So in today's service we're going to be doing the fuel filter, oil filter, and I've got a pipe across filter, so I just clean my filter and re-oil it. We've got the cabin filter, the oil, and obviously your oil catch can or catch tray, whichever. It's just a lot easier than trying to guide it into anything else, and this actually has a spout on it as well, which is quite handy to put it back into those bottles to get rid of the oil. And I've got ramps, which you can obviously do it on jacks if you want. So I'm just going to start by putting the car on the ramps first, and I'll get that on and then we'll start with the service. So we're all on the ramps now, which makes it a lot easier to get underneath. What we're going to do is take that thingy out of the way. Just got a little nail there because it helps bring it down, bring that little flap down, and you've got your sump plug bolt there. The size of the sump plug is 17mm. So what I'll do is just undo that quickly, get it to drain into the pan that we've got here, and then we'll go on to the top and remove the oil filter. Right, so that's now draining into our bowl. Obviously remember to keep your nut, but we have to change the copper washer because otherwise it'll just leak again. But you do get that with your oil filter, and you get a new O-ring, which I'll show you in the packaging. Right, so we're back at the top of the engine now. What I'm going to do is remove the engine cover, and well, it's already loose because I took it off earlier. Next, what we need to do is just pull this cable up out of the clip so we have better access to the oil filter down there, which is a 27mm. So what I'll do is, that's all loose now, but I'll just let the oil drip out with what's left so I don't get it all over the car. And I'll show you what comes in the new oil filter. So this is the new oil filter, it's a Bosch one, and you also get a new O-ring that goes round the oil filter housing as a seal, and a new copper washer, because you need to replace these both every time, and that comes with your filter. Whilst the oil's draining out, I'm actually just going to go ahead and take the air filter out. And so what I'll do is I'll start pulling the airbox off the mount, so it's easier to get the air filter from here. Then you got 2 clips on the front and 2 clips on the back. I'm actually missing one on the back. So this is my filter. It's actually really dirty, but there's a cleaner and additive for this. So you spray a cleaner on it, let it soak in, wash it off, and then you just spray the oil back onto it. Obviously I won't show you that because you'll most likely just have a filter that goes straight back in. But either way, this is the cleaner for the air filter, and you spray on, and then that's what you put on afterwards once you've cleaned it. I would recommend getting this filter because it is cheaper than keep buying filters over and over again, and it's a performance filter, so it helps a little bit, and it does sound better. You can hear the turbo a bit louder than what you would with your standard panel filter. As you can see, the oil's come to a very slow drip now, so I'm going to take the oil filter out from the top and I'll show you how to change it. So that's the old one. That's where the O-ring goes, and I'll show you how to replace that in a second. So to remove this filter, you just get it like at the top. That's a bit difficult sometimes. And pull it off, just like that. So I'll do as well, just give it a little clean off in there as well. If you really want to, you can dab tissue in there to collect the last bits of oil that sits in the bottom. I'll show you that in a minute once I've changed the O-ring on this. So for removing the O-ring, there's like a little slot there. Just want to get an Allen key in there like that. So I just put a little bit of oil onto it. What we're going to do is just work it down. Just sort of roll it down into place like that, and that's that all sorted. Now it's ready to put the oil filter back on. So putting the oil filter back on is actually really simple. You just get it like this and you push them together and it clicks together like that. So next I'll show you where this lines up in the oil filter housing, because you have to make sure you line that up first, push it in, and then you can tighten this back down. So if you can see in there, guys, it's like to the right of the main hole there's a little smaller hole, and that's where this part of your filter this part of your filter goes in. So you'll have to put the filter in on the side, like on the angle like that. Once it pushes in, you'll feel it and you tighten it down. So the filter's all in line now, it's all pushed back into place. I'm just going to snug it down with the 27. You really don't need to do this tight because it's plastic with an O-ring. So we got the oil filter housing all tightened back in, which is 25 Newton meters if you want to, but it's plastic, so it'll seal well anyway. Plus it has the O-ring, and then we just need to put the new copper washer onto the sump plug bolt, and that needs to be torqued to 25 Newton meters as well, which is a little bit more important because obviously it's alley and a steel bolt. So I've just put the new copper washer on. That's the old one on the left, new one on the right, and then I'll clean up the sump plug hole with just a rag to make sure it's all clean, and then I'll start threading that in and I'll show you me torquing it up. I've got the torque wrench set to 25 newtons, which is the max for this because it's only a little 1/4 inch drive, so I've had to use an adapter. So yeah, we'll just go down there and torque the sump plug up. That's the sump plug all torqued up now. So what we'll do is just put the flap back and then move on with the next job. Just a quick note as well, when you put your torque wrench back, always completely unwind it because the spring in there might stretch, so it helps it stay calibrated for longer. I guess now it's time to fill with oil, and the BMW N47 takes 5.2 litres of oil. So I'll put my 5 litres in first, and then we'll measure out 200 ml from a 1 litre bottle. So what we're using today is cash lead 0 weight 30, just because the car doesn't get very long journeys, so the 0 weight will be a lot better for it. open up the 1 litre bottle and get that in, and that'll make the 5 litres up. So I've got another litre, that makes 5 litres. A bit of a spill. So now we've got another litre of oil that we're going to have to take 200 ml out of. So we're just going to go a little bit above 750 because obviously this is a 1 litre bottle. Always double check on your dipstick once you've filled your car up and ran it for a minute anyway. That wasn't a bad guess, so that's just above the 750, and we'll check the dipstick once we've finished everything else on the car and it's off the ramps. That was one thing I should have mentioned, but this isn't stop start oil or Pacific stop start oil because I coded the stop start out with Beamer link. It just gets on my nerves when you come to a light and the car just turns off. So that's how you service a N47 oil change and oil filter. Watching the video, I'm going to show you how to replace the fuel filter and the cabin filter for the F20. What I'm going to do is actually move the car because the fuel filter is right under the sill there, closer to the drive shaft than it is the outside of the car, but I'm just going to move it on the hill a little bit and I can get to it a lot easier then. So minus the squeal, the car actually sounds a lot better now. I mean, this is different weight oil to what I'd normally use, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. Because how much the car is on an angle, I've just blocked the back wheel so it doesn't have any chance of rolling back whilst I'm under the car. So the bolts we need to get off are, the one is all on this plastic panel here, and they are 8mm. So there's 1, 2, 3, 1 missing, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that bit over there, if you can see it, just swivels off, and then there's another bolt just above it there which is at 8 as well. It might be a bit bigger, that could be a 10. So yeah, I'll get all these bolts off and then I'll show you where the filter is underneath this cover. So yeah, that bolt there is actually a 10mm, well, nut, just to let you guys know. So because I'm not actually going to be able to video me taking this fuel pump off, fuel filter off, all I've done was took out the front 2 bolts and all the bolts on the left hand side of the plastic trim, and you can get access to it like that. And if you're at home, I'd most likely do that as well, but all you got to do is just, well, you don't have to unplug that actually, but there's a little clip on there and you get a screwdriver in there, pry that off, that'll come off as one unit, and on the front you press the green tab in, it's like a quick release line, so you just pull that pipe out, get your new filter, slide it into place, and in between here there'll be a rubber like washer, and that has to go in so it can seal properly, which I'll show you anyway, but yeah, that goes in between there. So I'll get this top off, I'll get the fuel filter out the way, get the new one in, and I'll show you how, well, I'll just explain to you where the rubber washer has to go. This is actually the washer that I was on about. It's like it's just rubber, it just comes out, but you have to keep that in when you attach that block connector that I was showing you underneath the car. You got to make sure you have the washer in, otherwise it won't seal properly. And yeah, that's the other side, and that's where the clip will go round on that little ribbit. Obviously take these bits off, these are just to stop any dust or anything going in them whilst they're in the packaging. So I find out you actually have to loosen this bolt that holds the fuel filter in, because it acts as a clamp, so you can't just slide it in. you have to loosen that off, put your new filter in, and lift it up. So I've took the clip out of this already, so that's ready to come off. This clip there, you pull these two tabs down on the side, that pulls down, and then you just wiggle that pipe off. But yeah, what I'm going to do is just take the fuel filter down, put the new one in, and then connect up the new one. So the bolt that comes out is a 13mm, and that just lets the fuel filter hang loose there. I suppose you just separate it like that, take that off, you'll have to slide the rubber off this and then onto the new one, and then put it onto your new one, get the bracket back up there, and then connect it. You also need to keep this because mine doesn't come with a new clip, but I don't suppose it ever gets worn out. So new filter is on now. Had a little bit of a spill from the old filter. You can prime these, but what I normally do is just press the start button a couple of times without my foot on the brake, and it should prime it enough to where when you start it, it will start. So what I'll do is I'll just zip this back up and I'll show you that process inside, because it most likely won't start straight away. So this is all I do, is just prime it a couple of times because it kicks the fuel pump in. Probably do it 3 or 4 times. Now you want to press your brake in. Might start by just, there we go. So that's how to do the fuel filter. The next one on the list is how to do the cabin filter, which is just underneath the glove box in there, and I'll show you how and what tools you need to do that as well. So the cabin filter is just under the glove box here. You need to take out the 10mm nut bolt there and 10mm bolt there, and this plastic will come down, and then I'll show you how to find where the cabin filter goes. So once you've loosened it and pulled it down, there'll be 2 clips either side as well that you'll have to pull down. That takes that. So if you have a cigarette lighter there, disconnect that. Disconnect your footwell lights, and then just there is where the cabin filter goes. Once I've got this out of the way, I'll tell you what Torx bit they are, and then all you do is pull it down, pull your old filter out and put your new one in, screw it back up. It's exactly the same procedure, just put this back up, connect your lights, connect your fag lighter. So the 2 bolts that come out, well, 2 screws that come out are T20, and that's from underneath here. So all you got to do, well, you got a clip there, sorry. You have to, do you pull it out? Yeah, pull it out towards you, and at the same time pull that, and that just hangs there, and you just grab a hold of it. This is a lot harder one-handed. There's your cabin filter, and then obviously just get your new one, put it in the same way it comes out. All done and all put back together now. That's how to do a complete service on a BMW F20 or F21 or any N47 engine.